that the hole on the horn is lined up with the hinge line. You don't want it too much in front and too much in back. You're shooting right over the hinge line. Now we know that they fit well. We'll pull them out from the bottom, and I'll go ahead and put some foam safe here on the horn. Both sides. Push it through until it's flush with the top. Looks good. I'll even add a little bit of extra glue on both sides. Spray it and let it set up. We'll go ahead and get started on the other one. Pull it out. Glue on both sides. By this time that one should be pretty much set up. Push it through. Flip it over, line it up. Put a little bit of glue on both sides. I'm going to hit it with the accelerator. Come back and check this one, no drips. That looks good. Now we can go ahead and do the elevator and the rudder. Kind of do the same thing. I'll push it through from the top. Lines up good. A little bit of glue on the horn. Make sure it's flush with the top. Lined up over the hinge line. Glue on both sides. And then spray it. Rudder's going to go on the opposite side of the elevator. Well, the elevator's on the right-hand side of the airplane. You can see, and the rudder will be on the horn will be on the left, the opposite side of the elevator. Good fit. Pull it out, add a little glue. Press it in, line it up over the hinge line. A little bit of glue on both sides. Spray it. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the top of the ailerons, horns. And the elevator as well. Just to make sure, I don't want these pulling out. A little bit on the elevator here. Make sure to keep your tip clean on your glue. I'll take that rag and keep that clean. And a little bit on the opposite side of the rudder horn. Now we'll get a piece of 047. It's a piece of 047 music wire. And I'm going to cut me a strip off that's about 6 inches long. And I'm going to take a piece of 6-inch long 046 music wire. I'm going to grip it at the tip with these pliers, the cutters, wire cutters. I'm going to roll a circle into it. So you get a little bit of a hoop into it so you don't poke anybody with it. And I'll finish it off with a pair of pliers so that they're butted up against each other. Nice little loop so it don't catch on the carpet or the car or whatever. There we go. And we're just going to go ahead and poke that right into the tail section at about a 50-degree angle, I would guess. Angle about like so for a good tail skid. We want to have it sticking down from the fuselage about 3 inches, 3 to 4 inches. We're going to stick it down 2.5 inches. We'll go ahead and remove it, maybe scratch it up with some sandpaper. Clean it off, put a little foam safe on it. Push it on in there and you'll have that little curl to the back. And there's your frame up on your GeeBee. We'll go ahead and do the electronics install next. When we do the electronics install, what we're going to do is we're going to take the carbon push rods, and these are 12 inches long of 070, and we'll take out the Z-bend wires that are in the little pack. And what we need to do, and there's also a couple 2-inch pieces of carbon for the aileron push rods, but we'll need to take these pieces of wire and with some sandpaper and just scratch them up a little bit on the straight end so it gets good adhesion to the carbon rod. Then we'll take the heat shrink tube and we'll cut these into 1-inch pieces. Take both of them, line them up together, and just put them into 1-inch pieces. Okay, we'll take one of the 1-inch pieces, we'll slide it over the carbon. We're going to go back to the regular CA again. We're going to put a good amount of CA on about 1 inch of this. Take your Z-bend, 047 music wire Z-bend, push the heat shrink tubing up over it so that about that much of the Z-bend is hanging over the end of the push rod. And the heat shrink tubing comes all the way to the end of the carbon. And you have to be a little bit careful that CA is flammable, but I'll take a lighter and shrink it up. Every once in a while it catches fire. Then you have to be real careful. And glue one of those Z-bends on each of the 2 carbon rods. Just like so. And you got both carbon rods with 1 Z-bend on each end. Now we'll put the Z-bend in through on the rudder and the elevator. And we'll take these little pieces of 070 2-inch carbon rod. We'll slide on the shorter, maybe 3/4 inch long heat shrink tube. You may have to trim them down a little bit. And put a Z-bend on each end of one of those. Alright, we got the carbon on the end of the 2-inch carbon, or the Z-bends on the end of the 2-inch carbon. We got all 4 of them on 1 inch. We got all the